They say some train stations never sleep. Even when the last train has gone and the lights have dimmed, something still moves between the shadows, waiting. Locals whisper that if you ever hear a whistle after midnight, you must never look toward the tracks, because sometimes it's not a train that's coming. It's someone who never left. It was a cold, stormy night at the old train station, a lonely railway stop buried deep between foggy hills. The wind howled, the rain poured, and thunder echoed like the growl of something ancient. On a broken wooden bench sat an old man named Walter Gray. His clothes were torn, his hands trembled from the cold, and beside him lay a small brown bag, everything he owned in this world. He was waiting for the midnight train, the one that would finally take him away from his miserable life of hunger and loneliness. But fate had other plans. From the darkness at the far end of the platform, 3 men appeared, Ethan, Daniel, and Marcus. They knew Walter. Once he had helped them when they were poor and desperate. But greed changes people. They believed Walter carried gold in that small bag. As lightning flashed, their shadows stretched across the platform. "Give us the bag, old man," Ethan shouted. Walter clutched it tightly. "It's nothing, just clothes," he pleaded. But they didn't listen. They surrounded him, and in the pouring rain, they beat him mercilessly until his weak body stopped moving. The sound of a train whistle echoed through the storm. In panic, the 3 men dragged Walter's body near the edge of the tracks. When the train thundered into the station, they pushed him beneath it. Metal screamed, sparks flew, and in a single moment, Walter Gray was gone. The 3 men ran into the night thinking no one would ever know, but they were wrong. Walter never left that platform. 2 years passed. Chain Station had become a place no one visited after dark. Locals said they sometimes saw a figure sitting alone on platform 13. Waiting in silence. One rainy night, Ethan returned. His life had changed, he was wealthy now, but guilt haunted him like a shadow. He came to the station, hoping to prove to himself that the stories weren't true. The platform was silent, swallowed in fog, but when he looked toward the bench, he froze. There, sitting exactly where he had died, was Walter Gray. His clothes were soaked, his skin pale, and his eyes glowed faintly in the darkness. "Walter?" Ethan whispered. The old man turned his head slowly. His lips twisted into a lifeless smile. Ethan tried to move but couldn't. His body went cold. It felt like invisible strings were pulling him forward. Walter stood and raised one trembling hand, pointing toward the tracks. Ethan's eyes widened in terror as his own legs began to move against his will. Step by step, he walked closer to the edge. The sound of an approaching train filled the air. And as the blinding light flashed across his face, Walter's whisper echoed through the fog. "Your stop has arrived." The train passed. Ethan was gone. 3 nights later, Daniel came searching for Ethan. He found his friend's watch near the tracks, cracked and covered in dirt. The fog was thick and the lamps flickered like dying fireflies. From the speakers above, a voice suddenly crackled. "Even though there was no power, next train to hell." Arriving soon, Daniel spun around. In the reflection of the signal glass behind him, Walter's burned face stared back, smiling. Daniel screamed and ran, but his body didn't obey. He was being controlled, led toward the platform's edge. When the whistle screamed, the ground trembled, and another train came roaring through. When it passed, there was nothing left of Daniel but his cap, and a shadow burned into the concrete. Only Marcus remained. Weeks passed. He locked himself in his house, avoiding the station completely. But one night, he woke to a sound he hadn't heard in years, the faint whistle of a train. He looked outside and froze. Through the fog, he could see Chain Station, glowing faintly in the darkness, even though it was miles away. Something unseen pulled him from his bed, down the street through the fog, and onto platform 13. The lamps flickered weakly, and there he was, Walter Gray, standing exactly where he died, holding that same small brown bag. Marcus fell to his knees, trembling. "Please," he cried, "forgive me." Walter stepped forward, his eyes glowing brighter. His voice was calm but cold as ice. 3 tickets were bought that night, he whispered. Yours was the last. The air grew heavy. The ground began to shake. And from the dark tunnel came the sound of a phantom train. No wheels, no lights, just the scream of steel and fire. Marcus cried out as the light engulfed him. When dawn came, there was nothing left but silence. The next morning, the villagers found 3 dark shadows burned into the steel tracks, side by side, facing the direction of the tunnel. They say those are the marks of the men who killed Walter. Gray. And if you ever find yourself at Chain Station after midnight, and you hear a train whistle in the distance, don't turn around, because someone might still be sitting there on platform 13, waiting for you to join his final journey.